So today's Workforce Summit will focus on the future of Kern County's workforce and some of the innovative programs that are being implemented to prepare our workers for the future of work. With that in mind, I would like to kick off today's event with a very brief overview of the Kern, Inyo, and Mono Counties Workforce Development Area four-year plan update, wow, that's a mouthful, that we will be submitting to the California Workforce Development Board in March of next year. This update includes a number of new initiatives to help us better serve our customers. And I should have a PowerPoint going on here. All right. So this is our mission, and how we plan to achieve this mission is through those very partnerships that we just heard Mayor Go speak about. It is very important that we provide folks with stable housing and other amenities in order to ensure that they can be successful at work without those other agencies working closely with us to ensure that folks have those things. It is very difficult for them to continue to be employed. So when we're talking about the workforce delivery system, what are we really talking about? So Employers Training Resource is the job training arm of the workforce system, but there are many other partners in the system. We have adult education, we have the community college system, we have CSUB, which is our university system. We have a number of community-based organizations, which I see here in the room, which are essential to our success as well. And then we also have, of course, our labor partners, who I see a number of labor partners in the room also. The Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act partners seek to enhance the productivity and competitiveness of the local area through its workforce delivery system by creating innovative strategies to focus on employer engagement, dissemination of best practices, and promoting the effective use of technology to enhance service delivery. This is essentially what our Workforce Development Board is responsible for. The Workforce Development Board is responsible for the administration of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act funding in our area. The four-year plan acts as the guide for the board. The plan is based on data and input from local employers. This graphic shows kind of a flow chart of how the system actually works just within our agency. Our four-year plan includes four overarching goals. Based on the labor market demands and demographic data, an initial four-year plan was developed, which includes these four main goals. I'm just going to touch on a few highlights of the new initiatives that we are working on to meet these goals. To increase access, we are improving our locations and adding new locations. We recently opened the Epic Center at the Beale. We relocated our Oildale office where there's better visibility and more foot traffic. We've also relocated our Ridgecrest office right next to the Ridgecrest DMV office. We've also started using a mobile workforce unit to take services out to areas where we don't have offices. In addition, we are adding audio-visual equipment at many of our locations that will allow us to have virtual classrooms and even provide video interviewing services for both our employers and our job seekers. We're expanding services for both employers and job seekers. For employers, we have begun a series of workshops that focus on issues common to most employers. Over 60 employers attended the first workshop on human resource management, which included tips and tools, in addition to an update on the latest employment law and how those changes might impact employers. For job seekers, we have added a number of new resources, including new technology to accommodate job seekers who are deaf or hard of hearing. We are working with our education partners to create clear pathways for job seekers as they try to decide on which career they would like to pursue. An example of this is a recent event that was coordinated through MAOF, and I saw Magda in the back of the room, with multiple employers to explain the opportunities and career pathway progression in clerical careers. We've also met with a group of oilfield construction companies and formed a partnership with Bakersfield College to provide customized training in order to meet the high demand going on in that industry right now. So those are the types of things that we're working on, and there are many more. I couldn't talk about them all right now, or we would be here all day, but those are some of the highlights from this year. Creation of the plan required identification of priority or high-growth sectors. If you were here last year, you may remember that we engaged Applied Development Economics, a consultant, to complete an in-depth study of our local economy and labor market. The consultant identified our priority sectors as value-added agriculture, energy and natural resources, manufacturing, warehousing and logistics, aerospace and defense, medical services, and tourism and hospitality. So how did we do this last year? This past year, we served 22,708 unique individuals through our system. We enrolled 2,416. 311 people were placed in formal training. 189 people were placed through on-the-job training contracts, which is a guaranteed placement. 119 people were placed in paid work experience. 799 employers used our services, and we held 124 employer recruitments at our various locations. This is kind of our report card for the year. So our agency is required to meet performance metrics every year. Among those performance metrics are if people are continuing to be employed after the second quarter and fourth quarter, so in other words, for a full year after they've obtained our services. And then median earnings, have they increased their wages? And then also credential attainment rate and measurable skills gain. As you can see, we far exceeded all of our performance measures that were required for this year, and we're very proud of that, and that is very hugely attributable to the great staff we have and the great work that they do. So the four-year plan update has an emphasis on including populations that are oftentimes overlooked in the workforce system. Although this is a new element in the state-required workforce plan, our local AJCC has been working for a very long time to ensure that we are inclusive of anyone who would like a job. An example is a recent recruitment that was held specifically for folks with disabilities. Our Employer Services Unit put together a special recruitment where employers were shown how, with some minor, inexpensive accommodations, they could hire folks with disabilities. We've also been partnering with Behavioral Health and Recovery Services for a long time to assist young adults struggling with mental health issues to become employed. That program has been so successful that we were asked to expand the program to their adult population. We've also been working with reentry populations through the AB 109 program for a long time, and we're expanding that this year as well. We're beginning a new partnership with Child Support Services for non-custodial parents through technology. The idea behind the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act is to integrate services in order to remove any barriers individuals may have that prevent them from becoming and staying employed. Let me provide you with an example of why this partnership is so important. We sometimes have non-custodial parents who have fallen behind on support payments and their driver's license has been suspended pending developing a plan to become current. New linkages to child support services will help clients develop sustainable payment plans in order to become current and regain their driving privileges, which in turn will open up more job opportunities for them. As we are updating our plan, there's some very important trends that we as a workforce system need to carefully consider in order to ensure that we are working on the right solutions for both employers and workers. Youth ages 16 to 24 continue to remain a focus area for Kern County and Inyo and Mono. We have expanded access to youth services through the EPIC Center, and you'll hear more about that later today. And we hope to replicate this model through our continued partnership with the Kern County Library System. We believe this focus is critical to the long-term economic health of Kern County. These are some pictures of the recently opened EPIC Center, and the goal of the EPIC Center is to help folks envision, plan, innovate, and connect so that they can reach their career aspirations. So why is this focus on youth so important for our area? According to a study released by the Measure of America, if all the 16 to 24-year-olds who don't work or attend school join the workforce, their combined economic power would be worth billions. Indeed, if the 4.6 million members of Generation Z who aren't working or in school join the workforce, each individual would generate $11,900 per year in federal tax revenue. The U.S. economy would see more in taxes and spend less in public benefits, according to the report. The Measure of America study also found that by the time they're in their 30s, young adults who worked or were in school during their younger years come out ahead of their non-working or non-educated counterparts. The former group earns $31,000 more per year and are 45% more likely to own a home. They're also 42% more likely to be employed and 52% more likely to be in good or excellent health. So this affects their entire lives. Another trend that we believe is really important for us to address as a workforce development board is irregular work. Irregular work, often also referred to as gig work or shadow work. Gig platforms like Uber make headlines, but they're the tip of the iceberg. Irregular hours have replaced traditional employment for tens of millions of corporate employees. Pay for illegal, off-the-book, odd hours of work has reached 10% of the GDP. This trend is leading to emerging technologies that may help facilitate linkages between workers for the temporary or one-time work in their field of interest. This technology is called CEDA. It's an acronym for the Central Database of Available Hours. There are a number of these systems already in use, such as TaskRabbit, Upwork, Guru, and Gigster. These sites are a more sophisticated version of Uber and Lyft, where workers input their skills and available hours, and then they are matched with employers who have one-time projects or irregular work. The issue with this is that these workers have no worker protections. There's no sick time, there's no vacation time, they're not paying into Social Security, they have no social safety nets. So as a society, I think we're going to see some legislation, I would expect, in order to start providing some protections, but this is something that's going to become fairly significant over the next few years, so we probably really need to watch and see what we can do in order to help these folks. Shadow work is where workers work off the books for employers. While some workers like the flexibility that these types of work assignments offer, these trends, again, are concerning because both of these trends provide little to no benefits, protections, or safety nets. Workers participating in this type of work do not have disability insurance, Social Security, or many of the other benefits common for workers in traditional work. The next trend, and this has been a topic of discussion in a lot of newspapers and journals, is job volatility. And job volatility can be defined as the likelihood that a given occupation will experience disruptive change to the skills requirements and/or demand for those positions. Job volatility can often be seen as an abrupt structural change in the labor requirements for a specific industry. This is extremely important here in Kern County, as a number of industries that we rely on for economic stability are listed as most likely to be impacted by job volatility. As you can see, 3 of our 6 sectors are industries identified as most likely to be impacted by job volatility. These industries are vital to the health of our local economy, so we want to make sure that we incorporate strategies to address this issue in our next four-year plan update. And finally, I know a lot of that's negative, but finally there's a positive trend to consider. You will hear a lot more throughout the day about the growing trend toward apprenticeship. Apprenticeships offer a link between education and employers that is often more adept at overcoming the issue of job volatility. In addition, the Swiss model of apprenticeship has been shown to dramatically reduce youth unemployment, which, as you saw in the Measure of America study, has long-term impacts on both earnings and health. You will hear more on this topic throughout the day, and we're excited to build on this model here in Kern County. As we move forward, I would like to invite each and every one of you to participate in our four-year plan update. It is critical that we work together in order to make sure that we are working on the right solutions to provide economic prosperity in our county. Here are some of the dates for our upcoming discussions. It is critical that we receive local input to ensure that we are aligning education and training with the workforce demands of local employers. And that concludes my presentation. I really do want to invite all of you to participate. It is really important that we get local input and that we really work together in order to solve some of these issues. They're big issues. They're not going to be solved by one agency alone. It will take all of us pulling together in order to do that.